All right, so I'm here with Dee Walker, and you know, I've heard a little bit about your story, but I really don't know much, which I sometimes enjoy because now it gives me a way to kind of just ask some questions and figure out like where you were in your mind, where you were in your body, and then how things happened beyond there. So, Dee, you were suffering with back pain. Can you just tell a story about what had happened, how it happened, and any of that background information about it?
Sure. So when I was young, I went to the gym a lot, worked out a lot, 5, 6 days a week for some years. Really enjoyed, being in good shape. Rode my bike, lived in LA and rode my bike, every single weekend, and just always been active. Water skied a lot when I was young. And so I got pregnant, started my family, and my back had always been great, in great shape. Like I said, I was always in really good condition. And then all of a sudden, I got pregnant with my first child, and that went really well. Didn't have any problems, with my back. And then I got pregnant with my twins and, gained a ton of weight from my twins. And oh my gosh, my back just started hurting all the time. And I had to wear one of those belts, to help hold up my stomach until they were born. And then carrying, after they were born, with twins, I always had one on each hip. So I always had my arms around, both of them, carrying them all the time. And I think just really the wear and tear from having the twins, I just noticed that my back just was never the same after I gave birth. And I just always had back problems. I mean, not every single day, but certainly it was this cycle, and it would just keep, going in a cycle. And I would be good for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden my back would just like go out on me. And I would literally be in bed for 2 and 3 days, couldn't get up. It was just horrible. And I've been in that cycle. My twins are 27 now. And so I've been in that cycle for about 27 years of going to finally found a really good chiropractor who helped me, quite a bit, and going to the massage therapist. But my back pain just kept coming back and kept coming back. And so I'm always up to trying everything. I've done different stretches before, and uh, it just didn't seem like I had anything that really worked long term. So I'm hoping that this is going to be my long term solution, because I was in back pain, and then I saw the infomercial on the Relief4Life uh, program, and I thought, you know what? I will try anything, to help me feel better. So I went ahead and got the DVD, and within a few days of ordering it, my back went out on me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so it came in the mail, and I popped it in, and I was in such pain that I couldn't really do the stretches very well, but I just decided I'm going to do whatever I can. So I went through each series of the 8 exercises, and on some of them I could barely move. I had to keep stopping, the DVD, because it took me forever to get back into the starting position. But
Wow.
I finished each one of them and just did a little bit that I could. And I was so surprised. I seriously saw a difference, literally by the end of that day. So I did them in the morning, and, just had a hard time walking around my house, getting anything done, feeding my dogs, feeding myself, couldn't really do laundry. So I noticed by the end of the day that my pain level was better. I mean, so when I started, it was at a 10, most definitely. And by the end of the day, I want to say that my pain level was probably down to like an 8. And when you're in massive back pain, any kind of relief is just like, oh my gosh, I'll take it. So then I got up and I did the stretches the next morning on day 2, and I noticed that I could do a little bit more, a little bit further, a little bit better. didn't have to, still had to stop the video quite a bit, but I was able to move a little bit more. And by the end of the second day, my pain level was probably down to probably a 6 or 7. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this really for real? And so by day 3, I was able to do the stretches even better, didn't stop the DVD hardly at all. And by day 4 and 5, I was able to go through all of them with, touching my elbow to the knee when you're doing the crossover stretches, because that hadn't happened before. So I was able to actually touch it and got through everything. And I would say my pain level was probably down to a 2 by day 4 and 5. And it's only been a couple of weeks for me that I've been using this. So I can't say, long term that I'm all better, but for the last 2 weeks, it's been a godsend. It really has been a godsend for me. My pain level has been a 0 for the last several days, and I've been able to do everything and anything that I need to do. I can squat down and, get underneath. I cleaned underneath the couches, and that's really hard when you're having back pain issues. So, yeah, it's just, I am really excited and I'm encouraged, because I'm just hoping that this is what's going to work for me long term. And I would just say to anybody out there, you got to try it, because back pain is no joke, and it really changes your life, and hinders you from doing so many of just your normal daily living activities. And so if I can be out of pain, praise God for that. So I want to thank you for, doing this and providing this for people like me that have struggled with back pain for um, almost half my life now. So yeah, I'm very excited, very excited. So
Wow. So thank you for sharing that story. And I see it gets you emotional.
it
What
does.
what is the emotions behind that? It's just all the long term 27 years of emotions. Is that what it is, you think? Or
It's just, I'm so tired of struggling, with back pain. I just recently retired from my government job, but sitting at a desk, and when we were in the building, I had a stand-up desk, so um, I could at least, get up and move. But if I had to sit for a long time, and it's been hard, working from home the last 2 years because of COVID,
Mhm.
I don't have a stand-up desk, and sitting down, it was just, there were just days that I had to take my laptop into bed with me and work, in bed. I had all my files and papers spread out all over my bed, and just trying to find some kind of comfortable position to get in. I mean, it's affected, I'm emotional because it's affected my life so much. I haven't been able to do things. I had to turn down, before I got your DVD. My friends invited me to go bowling, and my back, I knew just there was no way, I was going to be able to go bowling, because I already was in back pain. And there's like, yeah, there's no way I can get down and throw a bowling ball. And it, it changes your life. And so for me, it's just been so frustrating and such a struggle trying to find something that works so I can have a really good quality of life. I mean, last summer I went kayaking a lot with my friends, and by the end of the day, I came home and my back, hurt so bad, that I was in pain for the next 4 days, and constantly taking ibuprofen. And I think that's what I'm really excited about is, I don't like taking any kind of drugs, whether they're over the counter or prescribed. But when you live with back pain for as long as I have, ibuprofen is just a regular thing that I always take, sometimes twice a day. And I don't like that. And, I don't even know if it really helped a lot. I just took it because I felt like, well, it's better than, being in pain without taking anything. I might as well try and take ibuprofen. I was taking, 600 milligrams once and twice a day. And so, yeah, it's to be able to do things and And as soon as I felt any little thing in my back, I just got down on the floor and put in your DVD and started doing all the stretches, and it works. I mean, that's the bottom line for me. It works. So I'm thrilled.
That's amazing to hear. And, I can't guarantee anything, but I've worked with many women through their pregnancies. Actually, this is a great thing to do during pregnancy, because what happens is your pelvis changes and your anatomy actually changes with pregnancies. With twins, it obviously changes even more. And the SI joint and the areas around there can become unstable. And what this is doing is restabilizing, but it's also putting everything in the proper position. So your hips get in alignment, your SI joint is more stable, your lower back is more stable. So we've seen this in the past be a long-term solution. And so I hope for you that you never have to go back to that way of living, and that, like, if you start to feel it flare up, that you have a solution that you're not dependent on anybody for, which is
Right.
that's what I love about this is like, we created about 15 years ago, and to this day, I don't have to see anybody. So I just do it myself. So is there anything that was like an aha moment when you were doing the movements? Like, was it like, well, this is weird, or how is this working? Or is there any thoughts that were going on that when you got up and you were like, wait a second, I feel different?
Yeah, actually, it was when you have to put your knee out and then bring it around. I'm not sure what that's called,
The
but
single frog leg?
yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that my left side was popping really bad, because I know in your DVD you say you're going to hear some noises and popping. My right side, I didn't hear anything. It was nice and smooth and everything worked great. The left side was popping so bad. And that's the side that my pain usually starts on. It usually starts on the left and then it spreads across, the rest of my back. And I noticed that my left side was harder for me to get more movement and more stretching from. The right side I had a lot easier. And so it just was like, okay, it really is my left side that I don't have the mobility that I have on my right side. And I kept hearing that popping, and I'm hoping that the popping gets less and less as I go on. But yeah, that for me was like, oh, okay, so this really is working, because it's popping and things are moving. And I just felt after doing the single and then the double together, uh, and then after you're done and then you lay back down in the starting position, I just like could feel, how you say your back will start feeling warm because of the blood flow. All of a sudden my back just got really warm on my lower back, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this feels so good to get that blood flow in there. So yeah, I could feel things working as I was going through, and just the way that you have them in order. Because I mean, I've done back stretches before. I mean, back stretches aren't anything new, but I think the way that you have and the order that you have them in and everything, that one leads to the next, and it's just I'm just really super excited. It's just really a cool thing. I just feel like, thank you, Lord, that I've been praying for relief, and now I'm getting it. So I'm super excited. I've got a couple of dogs. I love taking them for a walk, and there's nothing worse than you look at your dogs and they're like whining, looking outside, wanting to go for a walk, and you're in so much pain. It's like, there ain't no way I'm going to be able to get up and go walk my dogs. That's pretty sad. So yeah, I'm really excited.
That's awesome and very inspiring. Have you shared this experience with other people in your family, or?
Actually, my daughter's out of town. She's just coming back tonight. She's been out of town for about a month. And I told her about it because she suffers from back pain. And so I told her about it. And she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, when I get home, I want to hear all about it. And I want to see the video. And because right before she left town, she had to go to the chiropractor and get a massage because her back hurt so bad. And she's too young. She's 30, no kids. I mean, she's too young to be having back problems at her age. So I'm excited to introduce this to my daughter and see if it helps. And my son has back issues. One of my twins has back issues. Actually, he's been to a surgeon and a doctor, and so I'm gonna show this to him and see if it might help his situation. So, I mean, yeah, and my ex-husband, who we're still super great friends, he has suffered from back pain. So I'm planning on sharing this with my whole family to see if it can help them too. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. So I just thank you for putting this out there, because, like I said, it's been 27 years that I've been suffering off and on with back pain, and it's just no fun.
Absolutely. Having been there, I completely understand it. And so you definitely, based on has it been 2 or 3 weeks now?
Yeah, it's been a solid 2 weeks that I've been doing the exercises now. Yeah. And I mean, it only takes 30 minutes. It's just not, it's just not a long time. But the one thing that I really was kind of skeptical on when you were in the DVD saying that, you can't be distracted, and your mind and your body, they really need to work together. And I was thinking, okay, really? Well, oh my gosh, is that true? Because I had the TV on one time and I was kind of watching TV while I was doing the stretches. It just I just wasn't feeling the same. So I hit the mute button on the TV, and I closed my eyes as I was doing some of the exercises, and I was really just in sync with really focusing on each stretch and each set a little bit further and a little bit further. And it's silly, but it works. I mean, there is something about when you're really focusing, because the mind is a really powerful thing. None of us really know what it's capable of, but when you really set your mind to it, and so you're really involved in doing the stretches, you're not just willy-nilly doing them while you're talking on the phone or watching TV. I saw, for me, that it did make a difference, and I'm like, okay, so he's right.
Absolutely. I mean, it makes a huge difference. Like part of this program is the disconnect between the mind and the body, and that's where pain shows up, actually. And the body is so amazing that it will say, hey, there's a problem here, so here's pain for you to fix it. And then your brain receives it. And so that's really what we're doing, is through the movements, it's a deep neurological program. Even though you're moving your body, we're sending impulses back and forth. And like I tell people, your spine is like a magical wand. It is we are electrical beings, and your thought sends the impulses down the spine to the peripheral nervous system, to those muscles that you're activating. So the more and deeper you go into that mindset, the more you'll innervate these muscles that are most likely weak or haven't been active. And that's what the body's asking you to do. So we're just giving it medicine naturally.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you may want to share with somebody who is skeptical, who is in pain, and the window of belief is like small? Because that's what we see, like overcoming disbelief. Really, that's what we want to see. So is there anything that you could say to somebody in your experience that would help inspire them to maybe give it a shot so they're not skeptical?
Well, I guess for me, it's common sense. I mean, so how much is your copay to go to the doctor, right? And you make your DVD program super affordable. So it's the cost of about a copay for most people. And then you don't have to pay that copay again and again and again. So if you just think about it kind of that way, I mean, I told myself that 2022 was the year to invest in myself. And for anybody out there, I would say you're silly not to try it, because what do you have to lose? A copay? I mean, pay it, watch the DVD. If it doesn't work, which I honestly believe it will, But I just think that this isn't a scam. This isn't a fad. This is real. And for somebody who doesn't believe, then I think before you can say that, you need to try it. And then if it doesn't work, then you can say it doesn't work. But it just, you owe it to yourself. I mean, how many times do you go out and buy a Starbucks, coffee for $5 a shot? Okay. Take a few of those and invest it into yourself for better health, putting something better into your body. I mean, anybody can afford this DVD. It's not expensive. So, um, you know, if somebody wants to get out of back pain, here's the tool to do it. So it's up to them just to say, okay, I think I'm worth it. And really that's all it is. It's like, and especially people that have parents or kids or siblings. I mean, my mom, who's 96, turned 96 in December, she always said that it was important to take care of herself so she's not a burden on her family. And I kind of take that, I take that away from her, and I feel the same way. It's like I've got 3 kids and an ex-husband who's always there for me, and I owe it to my family and my siblings to take care of myself. So I'm not a burden on any of them. I don't want to be a burden on my kids or my family. So anybody out there, you owe it to yourself. Aren't you worth it? Don't you deserve to feel better and to be happy and to be out of pain? Uh, for such a low cost, it's ridiculous not to try it. So
Wow. You sound like I gave you a script for an infomercial.
no,
Like,
no, I swear on my Bible that I have right here on my end table that no, we didn't even talk before about this. So I had no idea what questions you were going to ask me.
yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. And that's what I like, because this is one of the most fulfilling things for me, is actually doing an interview of the success stories, because one is taking people through the program sometimes, especially the first time, and then them having this like, whoa, holy cow, this could be the solution, and then it gets better. And then asking these story, because watching when you talk through it, when you walk yourself through what you went through and then you explain it, you get to see the whole picture and the emotions and the joy and all the things that come along with it. So it's when I don't know the whole story, it's even more fulfilling for me, I would say. So Dee, yeah, is there anything else that you want to share about the program, or about your experience with back pain, or anything that just like comes to you that you feel compelled to share about it?
No, I think I pretty much covered everything. The one thing I was really pleasantly surprised with was getting an email from you. I'm thinking, yeah, right. The guy on the DVD, he's not going to be emailing me personally. And then all of a sudden, I didn't really believe it until all of a sudden I saw your face. And, even though your hair's a lot longer, I
Yes.
was like, oh my gosh, okay, so that really is Ian. I mean, it's just so cool that you care about people. You're not in it to, be a millionaire. You're in it to help people. And I really feel that coming from you, that sincerity, and really reaching out to me to want to know my story and to hear how it's helped me. So I think that is the pleasant surprise for me. So very cool.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to hear that. And I'm happy that you don't have to suffer anymore. And I hope this is the key. Like I said, there is no guarantee, but it has been the key. And one of the things that we do sometimes is a year later follow-ups. And what we find is a year later, people are doing better physically, better mentally, provided that they have continued at some degree to progress past it, right? So, and you probably already know this because you're in exercise and you've been doing it before, but the goal is to not go back down to where you were before. And
Right.
so we would usually take people, do the back program until they get their back pains gone. And then we start to do a little bit more strength training. So you can go back to the gym and then build on top of that while incorporating this. Maybe you only need it a couple times a week, or some people only need it one time a week after that as maintenance. So
Right.
just to give you an idea of what the future usually looks like for people in this situation. And then if you do start to feel that flare up, then you just immediately do the program, and usually it causes it to disappear or prevents what you usually went through before.
That's a good point. And I guess I would really like to say, when your back starts feeling better, don't stop doing it, because that's the key. This isn't just a one-time fix-it thing. This is progressively getting better, right? So the goal isn't to just get out of pain. The goal is to stay out of pain. And so, yes, I'm working at making sure I do this at least 4 times a week. The first week I did it, every day. And the second week about 4 times. So I want to 4 or 5 times a week be doing this. So yeah, I think that's really the key. I'm excited to see and watch my progression. And I'm excited for you to come back in a year and check in, and we'll see how I am in a year from now.